Hello and welcome to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. My view of humanity is a whole new tea. Hi, hello to all of my lovelies, my royalty, my beauties. How are you? Okay, well, let's get that scorching hot, just bubbling, boiling hot tea out. If you like it cold, just hold the ice. Yeah, you know why. But okay. And just know I talk about anything I want because it's my show. And why not? And it's crazy how so many years ago I was told, you better not start a YouTube channel or I'm going to kick you out. And why would you want to talk about like politics or poetry or book and that's the thing, like I at first I wanted to talk about books and poetry and break them down and talk about the inner characters within, which I am going to start doing. Yes. And I'm gonna, like I keep saying, I'm gonna get back onto Reddit soon, and I am, but it's gonna take a little longer because now that I am finally at like the phase of the years where tons of the um, dating nightmare pictures are for Patreon. I'm trying to upload so many of those, and the Reddit photos are kind of within those. And some of them are on Patreon right already that I'm going to be talking about in the future. So, but yeah, check out the Patreon. And there's the free, like, I'm going to put more free ones up soon, but there are several for free. And then monthly is $2. And then the other monthly is 4. I might do a couple other levels or whatever, but it's like, I know hard times. Having a disability and having to, at one point, spend, like, oh, yeah. I've already told my situation and everything, but I know how hard it can be. And I know, especially after this presidency and all the garbage and crap they put us through, I know how some people were laid off and how some are like laughing because like DEI, you weren't like, and they don't understand the definition of DEI, which I'm going to do an episode on this guy who like was determined to get rid of all these grants or get grants or whatever based off DEI or whatever, and they were interviewing him, and he can't even define it, and it's like, dude, like you had one job, you had one job, and you couldn't even take your time to. And this is why it's really funny because they keep saying how the more you read, the more you learn, the higher of a chance of you being a Democrat or on the left. And hearing from more people on the right, I see it more. And it's kind of funny because over the last couple of days, I keep doing research, but then I keep finding other interesting articles that help me with future episodes. Because if you've been watching and listening, you will see the articles where they say Republicans are more attractive and more beautiful and things, and then Democrats are smarter. And with that, I started seeing articles under both where the brain waves and the gray matter, like in parts of the brain, differ from Democrat and Republican. And like even with marriage, the thought of marriage and the purpose of marriage and the purpose on why people cheat is different. And we see and hear a lot of the Republicans cheat, but it's more common that Democrats cheat, which is kind of surprising, but not surprising. Because especially when they pointed out that the Democrats don't have any religious, like a lot of them, like I'm a Christian Democrat, but there's so many who are not religious, and so they don't feel that sin, they don't feel that obligation. Like to them it's not like they're gonna do what they do or whatever. And then but Republican men, who, yeah, I don't know. It's just like, so there's going to be quite a few different and to me interesting And some people are like, why aren't you going to do what's popular? I don't do what's popular. And as you can tell, yeah, I'm still not popular. I was like, oh, now I'm thinking of the song from Wicked. And yeah, it's like my goals and dreams were not to be popular. It was to speak my mind and show my truth and show the life of a disabled black woman, the all of the isms that I face on a regular basis. Because when people tell me racism is over, get over it, or you're disabled, so why do you leave the house? Do you know how many times stupid, idiotic bigots like, why do you leave the house? No one's gonna marry you. And yes, does that mean, in a way, that means I'm calling my mom a, yeah, yeah, because she says that quote that you all know. Yes, yes, I've said it in so many episodes. If you don't know it by now, go check it out. I have way over 600 episodes. I'm probably going to be saying over 700 episodes pretty soon. And yeah, and soon I'm gonna start doing 2 episodes on some days, and you're gonna start hearing updates on the novel. I am so excited because even last night, making some changes and updates and like because researching, and the thing is, like, I don't use a ghostwriter. I use like research and art. Like I've been at like even with the DNA part, I was reading articles on it. But it's like, yeah, sometimes I'm like, okay, AI, I need um your resource because like if this weapon is going to shoot through these things, how far would it get? How much damage? Because I want to in the scene write it accordingly. I want to write it in a more accurate way. Or if someone was going to punch in this style, how much damage would it do on this person? And so I feel like for writers, there are ways, and when I talk about it on the Nerd Channel, because yeah, this is some of the stuff I'm going to be discussing on the Nerd Channel. It's like there are ways where you can use AI as an amazing resource, in my opinion. Like a lot, I keep hearing a lot of booktubers saying, if you use it, use your blah 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 blah, and they don't understand like one reason why it's taken me so long to write is even the fruits and the food and the music, because I'm even writing the majority of the music that like my people, my characters listen to, and the symbolic meaning, and with the prisoners prison numbers, I'm looking up, making sure like, okay, it's from this state or this country. It's like, how do they do their IDs, how do they do this, what's the culture of this prison? And so, and yes, does that mean it's going to take so much more time? Yes, it is. And is that the only reason it's taking so much time? No. No. If you have also been listening, you already know about I have so much work to do so I can start getting more children's books out. And it's funny because a few days ago, my illustrator wrote me, do you have any new projects? Like, I'm going to soon, I promise. But on top of the children's books and the novels, I have the activity books I need to make and educational books. And then I'm working on the candles, which more of the products are coming in, and I'm finalizing my formulas and making sure I have all of the equipment that I'm going to need. And also, I want it to look as like quality and upscale as possible, and figuring out the proper pricing. And like with my marketing, I like with the photography, there's so much to plan. And especially since I have my MBA in marketing and internet marketing and things. Well, internet marketing was my focus, but I did make sure I took some of the marketing classes with it. But yeah, there's so like I'm working on like being the entrepreneur. I have to look at the finances and on top of the marketing. But then on top of that, just the logistics and the administration. And also, if I'm going to hire, what will their job like? job be, and how can I create the training material and the website and the portals, and like, yeah, if I could go on and on, but I won't today because trust me, yeah. Um but I say all that to lead to all of this has helped me learn about myself, and I am learning how to love myself because, as I said like a few minutes ago, I was not allowed to be on YouTube. My parents told me they were going to kick me out of the house. And it's crazy because one of my parents now says he did not know that. And but then when I try to tell him about what mother said, he doesn't want to. Yeah, he says please don't because she passed away. And so I'm going to be talking about why is it so bad to talk about the dead. That's a future episode. I might talk about it next. You never know. Because that's really been getting on my nerves lately. Because over the last few years, a lot of people that I know have passed away. And some I have very different opinions of compared to some other people out there. But only the people who think of them fondly are allowed to speak of this person. And I don't think that's fair. And I don't know, it's just really amusing because, so yeah, I'm going to be looking at the psychology of that, and I'm going to be looking at articles as well as maybe even typing out situations to AI to like get an analysis. And even with my breakup, I'm kind of learning like you can use AI to try to help you move forward, because I'm going to be talking a lot about Mr. No Heart and Lock a Key. And because the more I talk about it, sometimes when I tell another story and while I'm telling it, then I'm able to connect it to other episodes and I see patterns and I see like, oh, he did A, B, and C. Oh, he kept doing A, B, but then blaming C on me. And X, Y, and Z would not have happened if he didn't do this, but he blamed me for the elemental P of it and told me if I didn't do elemental P, but then I find out he did elemental P. And he kept doing it. So the one time I did elemental P, that's when he blamed me for it when I did it because I kept seeing him doing it. And so, yeah, I keep seeing patterns. And so, one piece of advice, and I'm gonna put my really long example, like I'm gonna put the link because it's on Patreon. But yeah, because it all started off with one of the last messages he texted me, and I guess this episode is mostly about different ways you can use AI to help you, in different ways where you're not stealing anyone else's ideas, where it can actually help you level up and or level up your ideas or your situations or different things in your life that you might need assistance with, because it's like one thing a lot of men don't get, or they get but they don't care, because sometimes when you start a new relationship, but then they always say like the first time shame on them, but the next time shame on you, and you don't want to feel or look dumb, so you're watching out for yourself. And so like if a guy starts doing some of the same things as your ex, you're like, hold up, and you're just like, oh, okay, no, let's wait, blah blah blah. But then they blame you. I'm a different guy. I'm not like the rest. I'm not like the rest of them. Oh, you can't put me, you just have to get over that. You have to move on. It's like you need to just be ready for me. I'm different. But then months later, they actually prove that they are exactly the same. And all of that garbage that they were saying, a lot of men just learn to just say I'm different. Just say I'm not like the last guy. Just tell the woman to get over it. just tell the woman to not talk about or discuss their ex, but then they're allowed to talk about their exes. Because I've even been in those situations where at one point I think we're just chatting and discussing, and next thing I know, they're talking about their ex. So then I feel like, oh, okay, so maybe I can, share about mine because it's like I understand the situation because my ex did A, B, and C, and I understand that their ex did A, B, and C in everything, so at least that can connect us. Why are you talking about your ex? Oh, if you keep talking about your ex, you're not over your ex. And I am going to soon be covering a different uh, like last text from my ex, or Mr. No Heart, because it's really funny how some men for years say the same lies, but with those lies, the truth comes out. And it wasn't until I broke up with him that he admitted that his ex wife broke his heart, that he was so hurt from that. And because I told him, we can just be friends. Because at first he said he didn't want to date. I'm like, okay. Because when we met, like we met on Plenty of Fish or whatever, but we found out we both like anime and we had a lot in common because, like, well, he pretended because I figured out that no, he just said all of the things he said because he wanted me to come over, basically. But, but at least one of the things that was honest was the anime. And but then, yeah, down the line, the truth came out. But at the beginning and stuff, like especially when his roommate, like he didn't really mention his ex much at all until his roommate came, and then you would hear, "I didn't care about her. I didn't like her. I never loved her. Oh, she knows what she can do. She knows where she can go. Oh, and oh, this is one of my favorites that he kept telling me the first 3 or 4 years of our relationship. The only reason I followed her to Metro Detroit, the only reason I followed her there is because she had our children. I chased her for the children. I chased the children. No, you didn't. Because, especially, if he had only chased the children, he would not have moved in with her. He would not have lived with her. He would not have gotten back with her. He would not have fathered her other child. Because yeah, she has an older child and stuff like that. So, and like a lot of the things he told me that he went through, it did not make sense because he kept saying how he could not stand her, he didn't like her, he didn't want anything to do with her, but since she had their children, that he had to tolerate her, that he had to deal with her, and it just did not make sense because then he was like, "Oh, she begged me to marry her. She begged." Like, hold up. So the only reason you moved down to Metro Detroit from Lake City was because she took the children with her. And then years down the line, you were living with her and all of the stuff, and then she begged you to marry her. But you said that you were only going to get married one time in your life, and because you didn't want to follow in your parents' footsteps. Hmm. So then you agreed to get married to her, but then, like less than a year later, she cheats on you with the guy, like the dishwasher at the bowling alley, because she was working as a karaoke person there, and she met the dishwasher, and they ended up doing that thing, hey, and so, but you, I don't know, just different things did not fit. But then also when he would tell me how he was awful to her, he, like, in order to prove to me that he didn't care about her, he would tell me about things, awful things he did. But then it just proved to me why she cheated on him. Because I'm like, if you did those things to most women wouldn't have ever married you. And most women probably would have ended up like either leaving you again or cheating on you or doing whatever they had to do. But yeah, my self-esteem was still so low, and I had to understand, or after the breakup I had to realize that I didn't love myself. I was still going after the goal that my mom said I would never gain. Love. She said no one would ever love me as long as I walked the way I did. That's why I tolerated him and all of the awful things he did to me. The mistreatment. And then, like, and it's crazy because, yeah, in a way, this is a mix of dating nightmares, but also technology and the beautiful usage of technology. Because since I have a anthropology minor, I I treated AI like, okay, let's take this to an anthropology level. What patterns do you see? Can I, and I was like, can I give you different situations? Can you give me a perspective based off of this text message? And it's like, and the next step, it was like, oh, would you like me to do this, or that? And I pasted everything so you could see all of the options and which ones I chose. And I'm going to do it again with the same message because I feel like if I choose different patterns each time, I will be able to learn new things. And I feel like for some people who their heart needs to be healed, or at least they need to figure out the way that they can be able to find love for themselves, because sometimes we end up in these awful toxic relationships because we still don't love ourselves. And so sometimes in order to figure out what happened in the relationship, and sometimes we need to figure out why we don't love ourselves, with especially while dealing, like, why didn't I break up with him a long time ago? I should have. I wanted to, but I was scared that I was going to end up alone, that no one else was going to want me, because a lot of guys would say you're pretty, you're smart, whatever, blah blah blah, but I can't date a woman that walks like that. And this is before my walking got even worse. So it just kind of, I had fear, and that fear kind of gave me the wine goggles where everything was red wine vision. And even though I don't really drink much at all, but when it came to dating, yeah, it's like symbolically I did. I dated this guy, and I blame myself for some things, or for dating, like, because parts of me knew that he was not going to be everything I wanted. And even when I typed out the part where I think he only dated me because he wanted a house. And he knew that I worked my tush off, and he saw me investing money, saving money, and paying off student loans. He saw that I, like, when it came to credit score, when it came to responsibilities, and like even the hope of starting a business. And that's why he tricked me into starting a business, because then he got to watch me spend some of my hard-earned money and my credit card, because I, in a way, and I don't know this part for sure, but I feel like on purpose he was trying to make sure he messed me up as much as possible, to keep me down at his level, to make sure that one day I did not just leave him. Because with my education, it was much higher than his. And then with a lot of my different goals and things that I have achieved, higher than his. And with future goals that I wanted to pursue, much higher than, like, most of his goals were like getting the high score or beating people in a video game. But then he wouldn't get paid from those. Like, part of me was like, okay, if you're going, like, there's playing video games to de-stress and everything, but then when you're taking this to 8 hours a day and you're not making a daggone dime out of this? You're not making a daggone, like, at least look up some of the companies where you could test video games and get paid for it. If you're gonna play it that much, like day after day, like once you get home from work, that is all you do. Even when your kids are at the house, that is what you do. Like, okay, do you, boo, but don't then turn around and mess up my life goals just so that, like, I and so that I'm still gonna go to AI to help me, resolve and take care of that. But the parts where I typed to it how he didn't go to my surgery, how he didn't go to my mom's funeral, and how he treated me like around that, but I didn't say everything. So I think I'm going to even break it down to like just each situation so that there's going to be shorter AI visits as well. And I just want to hit it hardcore and even say from a psychologist point of view, from a therapist point of view, and then all of the like type of mental specialist point of view. I want to see what it says because I feel like I am finally capable of loving myself and accepting who I am, because people from church were acting like you must not love yourself if you're not praying hard enough. You're not saying the right prayers. No one's ever gonna, like, you need to pray because no one's gonna marry you walking like that. Oh, you better never have children. You're gonna be selfish walking like that. Or if this is something that, because I remember some of the church ladies, if you were born with this, because I remember I was just like, I don't know, I've been walking like this since I was born. And instead of being uplifting, if you were born with this, that means the devil took over. And if you have a kid like this, the devil is just going to get you one generation after another, and you have to make sure that you stop it. And you can only stop it if you don't have any children. Yep. Yep. How was I allowed to love myself and everybody's telling me to be somebody different? Everyone is trying to change me, trying to change my major, trying to change the type of guy I like, because I knew the type of guys I like, but everyone told me, no, you're not supposed to date this kind of person. No, it's like you're supposed to date this guy, or this type of guy, but then when I'm on a date with that guy, I'm like, no, like, and because at first I'm like, I'm gonna be myself. Yeah, myself does not fit this guy whatsoever. And or this guy only asked me out because of my chest. And or this guy only asked me out because I'm light skinned. And or this guy only asked me out because of my goals, and now he wants to see how he can get part of it. And or he sees that I've invested my money and now he wants to know how he can get some of the money. It's so disgusting how many men have done that. And especially men who told me women are not supposed to be investing. It's like, or especially black women are not supposed to be investing. That's what white men do. But then, especially when black men stop telling, because I've said this before, but I don't, black men stop telling that to black women. If you don't want to invest, don't invest. If you don't want to invest, don't invest. But don't you dare stop a black woman. And also, if you see, this is how so many white men have gained money and saved money. And while they're working, their other money is working for them. And or even they're able to get some tax breaks and things like that. And like, I mean, there's so many different things to think about. But it's funny how so many black men have told me. And so like, and or they tell me they're not going to date me until I take all of that money out and then we put it in a account with both of our names. Oh, you think like, and then I block them, and then they try to call me out they create another account and call me out my name. The fun. But thank you so much for listening to the Handicapable Black Woman Throne Room. I am a woman, I am of color, and I am handicapable. But most importantly, I am human and you're human too.